Continue. Well, I guess do we run the
Well,
ritual at this point?
I I
I
really
guess
think we need to do a ritual.
Yep.
so wonderful to see you all here. We're going to start our full moon circle with our Bard of the Month. And Steve has been part of our full moon circle team, and he's going to guide us in some drumming for a few moments. Welcome to the Herbal Charms Full Moon Circle. This is Selena Fox, and I am so glad you all are joining us through the miracles and the magic of cyberspace. Each month, we gather and Zoom, and in the past we've been doing Facebook Live. Facebook Live has made some changes and no longer Zoom can do that. So we are getting to problem solve and get to record this and share it that way. So we're having a time release full moon. This is Tuesday night, September 1st. I'm coming to you from a forest in southwestern Wisconsin next to where Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve is. And we have in our Zoom tonight people who are part of the Circle Sanctuary community from near and far. Every month we feature a bard, someone who shares music. And actually a number of us do music, but our featured bard this month is Steve Curtin. He is a Wisconsin-born Detroit area musician, engineer, psychologist. He started building his own module analog synthesizers in the late 1970s. And he continues building and playing hybrid digital analog electronic musical instruments. And later in our ceremony, you'll have a chance to connect with that dimension of his musical craft. He has been involved in many different walks of life and things. One description of his sound output is experimental ethno-ambient with an old school meets newer school approach. And Steve also plays bass and fretless and upright bass and anything else with strings that don't run in the other direction. He does guitar looping and he plays djembe, doumbek, bodhrán in various drum circles. I have connected with Steve not only through Circle Sanctuary's Full Moon Circles, but we connected with the First Unitarian Church of Detroit. He's been part of the choir for the past 3 years. He also plays conga and bass there. And during the COVID lockdown, he is the resident Zoom guru for their online services. His last name, Curtin, goes back to Old Ireland, County Clare, McCurtain. It's named after the Celtic harp, and indeed, part of the heritage of his Curtin Irish past. They were bards to the O'Brien clan. And indeed, in my Irish background on my father's mother's side, going way back in time, I have some O'Briens. So who knows, in another life, our ancestors most likely connected together. I want to give thanks to the various people helping us with our tech tonight. Circle Sanctuary Minister Jeanette Ewing, and she's helped us with a variety of things over time and is part of our podcasting team on CSNP. And Judith, who is part of Circle Sanctuary's publication staff and part of our Full Moon Circle team, is also helping with the hosting, as is Steve. And I'm really thankful for those of you who are here being part of our full moon celebration tonight. And I'm thankful not only for all of us that are taking part in this live, but thankful for everyone who will be joining us in this time-release full moon via recording put out in cyberspace. And another longtime member of our Full Moon Circle is Nikki, and I invite Nikki to give us some updates on upcoming things. Hello, Nikki.
Hi, everybody. My name's Nikki, and wanted to welcome everybody to the Herbal Charms Full Moon Circle tonight. So, got a bunch of announcements here for everybody. The registration has just been open for Circle Sanctuary's online Welcome Fall Festival. That's going to be on Saturday, September 19th. You can find more info online at circlesanctuary.org. Also, be sure to save the dates for our online Samhain Festival. That will be taking place on Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st. Our next full moon celebration is going to be Thursday, October 1st. The topic is Witch Wands, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Also, a reminder to check out Circle Sanctuary's CSNP podcasts, which occur several times a week. They're hosted by Selena Fox and other community members. You can also find more info on the website and also on Facebook. We are still doing all of the Circle Sanctuary events virtually, So please consider joining the Circle Sanctuary membership program to help support Circle in serving the community. You can also help support Circle by shopping the online resource shop and also by sharing our posts and events via social media and subscribing to the Circle Sanctuary YouTube channel. I think that's everything. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you, Nikki. And tonight we're going to have an opportunity to be interactive. Later on in our evening, there'll be a chance to craft a herbal charm of our own choosing. So if you haven't yet gotten some dried or fresh herbs to work with, ideally a little pouch or a piece of cloth, or you can take a tissue even, that would work. A tissue and a twist tie could even work. We'll be doing some herbal charm making tonight. And shortly, we're going to be able to kindle our candles. Now, if you don't have a candle with you that you can kindle, I will invite you to kindle it with your imagination. So I invite you all now to connect with the sacred according to your own tradition. And as I play this singing bowl, let us each in our own way connect with the sacred, with the divine, with source, by whatever name or names that there are. Divine as one, divine as many, we call to you, we honor you, we celebrate you. Be with us, be in us, guide us, aid us in our celebration of the herbal realm, in our celebration of the full moon, in our celebration of community here and beyond. So be it. Another longtime member of our Full Moon Circle team is Richard. And we have a long-standing tradition of having a community fire. Welcome, Richard.
Hello, my name is Richard Arthur Whitnable, and that usually gets a really good laugh for some reason or another. In southern Wisconsin, it is overcast and cool, just what we need to start a fire. So I have this beeswax candle, not a petroleum candle. I kindle this in lieu of a crackling hardwood fire out at Circle Sanctuary. And this will be our fire for the evening. Recognizing the fire is warm, friendly, but it's also a very dangerous and destructive process. So mote it be.
And now I invite all of us that have an actual physical candle to have it available. And as we kindle our candles, we kindle it with the light of illumination that is community, that is hope, that is love, that is well-being. And as we hold our candles up and we go to a gallery view, we have the opportunity to celebrate our connections with each other, with the sacred fire, and what the Celts would say, the fire in the head, the creativity that can spring forth from divine inspiration. We join together on this full moon night. We join together with sacred firelight. We join together with blessings bright. So be it. And now we are shifting back to the next part of our circle. Every full moon circle, we connect with the sacred directions. We connect with the sacred elements. We have herbal charms as our theme tonight. And I invite you, each of you, wherever you might be, to join me in honoring the elements and the directions by the power of the sacred earth, by the powers of north. May there be blessings of physical well-being for us, for those we focus on tonight, and for our whole biosphere. By the powers of sacred air and the sacred east, the blessings of frankincense and sacred herb of raising vibrations, blessings upon our minds, blessings upon our communications. Those that are joining here now, those who are in need, and to our larger home, planet Earth. By the power of sacred fire and the sacred south, healing, blessings, and well-beings for our stamina, our vitality, our resilience. Those of us here, those of us who we remember in this ceremony, and to the planet, calling specifically the power of solar fire to help with renewable resources on planet Earth. And by the power of the sacred water in the west, mint tea, blessings and healing on our emotions, us gathered here, those remembered here, healing for our oceans and the waters here on planet Earth. By the powers of the sacred spirit of love within us and around us, by the powers of the land beneath us, the sky above us, and of course, the full moon and the cosmos. We call to the powers of the sacred circle, the sacred sphere. We call to the powers of sacred herbs, both in fresh form and in dried form. The spirits of herbs in all their forms. Herb spirits, we call to you and honor you. Guide us in our explorations of herbal charms tonight. Guide us in our celebration of the full moon. And now, as we hold our hands out, we imagine those of us here in the Zoom and wherever you are listening, watching, we imagine you are part of a great circle. That yes, we are socially distant and on cyberspace, but we are interconnected. And I invite you to join in a full moon chant I created a number of years ago. The words are simple. Circle of full moon power, circle of full moon light, circle of full moon magic, circle of full moon bright, circle of full moon power, circle of full moon light, circle of full moon magic, Circle up, full moon bright. Circle up, full moon power. Circle up, full moon light. Circle up, full moon magic. Circle up, full moon bright. Circle up, full moon power. Circle up, full moon light. Circle up, full moon magic. Circle up, full moon bright. So be it. And we continue our explorations of the full moon. Indeed, longtime member of our community, Meredith will guide us in an honoring.
Greetings, my name is Meredith. I've been a Circle Sanctuary member since 2016. And I hail to you from Mazomanie, Wisconsin, the ancestral hunting grounds of the Ho-Chunk or Winnebago Nation. Today I bring you a poem by Lady Mary Wortley Montagu. She was born in May of 1689 and died in August of 1762. And she was an English aristocrat, writer, and poet. She is mainly remembered for her writing, particularly her letters from her travels to the Ottoman Empire, as she was the wife to a British ambassador in Turkey. And she has been described as the very first example of a secular work by a woman about the Muslim Orient. Aside from her writing, Lady Mary is also known for introducing and advocating the smallpox inoculation to Britain after her return from Turkey. She is also known for, in her writings, for advocating contemporary social attitude changes towards women and their intellectual and social growth. So I give to you A Hymn to the Moon, written by Lady Mary Wortley Montagu. It was written in July in Ann Arbor. Thou silver deity of secret night, direct my footsteps through the woodland's shade. Thou conscious witness of unknown delight, the lover's guardian and the muse's aid. By thy pale beams I solitary rove, to thee my tender grief confide. Serenely sweet you gild the silent grove, my friend, my goddess, and my guide. Even thee, fair queen, from thy amazing height, the charms of young Endymion drew, veiled with the mantle of concealing night, with all thy greatness and thy coldness too.
Thank you. And Nikki is going to guide us in more lunar honoring.
So I have a poem here that it was written by a woman named Sarah Kendrick in 2009. And I really liked this one because it, it speaks about the moon, but it also talks about herbs in it as well. So I thought it was very appropriate for tonight. So this is Moonflower. Trellis was not enough to hold you, spreading your tendrils over the plants in the herb garden. But your beauty, at night you do shine. Your pure white flower, under moonlight, is fine. Influenced by the moon, to bring your beauty out. Not only at night, but at full moon do shout. Enjoying your delicate blooms, fine line running down each petal, knowing that soon winter will settle. Then you will be gone. Raindrops will be spread over the herb garden, but you no longer will be around, spreading your radiance over the place where your love could be found.
Thank you. And Steve the Bard has a way for us to Attune to the Moon.
Yes, thank you. I'm living in the Detroit area and have been for the last, almost 20 years, but I actually grew up in Madison and also on a farm that's literally over the hill from Circle Sanctuary down on County JG. So I have a lot of connection to that. This was actually written by Radiohead's Tom York to his son, who was not quite 1 year old. It's off of the Hail to the Thief album. I said I spoke to the sun, and how much did it cost? I was dropped from the moonbeam and sailed on shading stars. Be
All hail the moon. And let us be in tune with the fullness of the moon tonight. We celebrate the full moon, as do a number of people over the course of several nights. For indeed, while it's a moment of fullness, it actually looks pretty full for several nights in a row. This is the Herbal Charms full moon. An old tradition has been to name each of the full moons, and there are some traditional names. Some of them go back to different ancient peoples in the Americas, some in other parts of the world. For our full moon circle, it happens to be the topic that we focus on each month: herbal charms. And why herbal charms in September? Indeed, here in the Northern Hemisphere, in temperate climate zones, September is a time when a lot of harvesting is going on. I'd like to share with you some basic information about herbal charms. Well, what is an herbal charm? It's working with one or more herbs in a sacred way for one or more purposes. Now, the herbs can be something that's freshly harvested, such as this anise hyssop, which is a kind of mint. Indeed, you don't have to be real fancy and crafty to make an herbal charm. You can harvest a bough and then find a place. You'll see a little place where you can hang it on a nail. You've got an instant herbal amulet. So that's one way you can create a charm. And why would somebody use anise hyssop? To help lift the mood, the vibrations of a place, to bring joy, well-being, to ward off negativity. It's an herb that's been used in home blessing. Another way to use a charm is to take one or more herbs and put them in a bowl or a platter. I have some angelica seeds. And indeed, angelica seeds are also connected with home blessing. The name angelica comes from a tradition that this plant is connected with archangels and the angelic realms of the herbal world. Another way of working with anise, the anise smelling angelica seeds, is to actually take little bits of it and toss them in the corner of your home, different rooms in your home. So a wonderful home blessing herb. Now, some people will actually make a little pouch and have some herbs in the pouch. We'll talk more about that in some resilient support herbal charm crafting that I'll do in a little bit. This is a little pillow made of dried mugwort leaves. And this is an example of a dream pillow. How do you work with a dream pillow charm? You can put it right on top of your pillow. You can put it under the pillowcase. You can stick it under the pillow. Some people actually set them under their bed, but I like to put it right under my main pillow. The idea is, by working with mugwort, it helps you remember your dreams, and it helps you understand your dreams, and helps you in a healing way. Another example of an herbal charm is, many people may not think of it as a charm, but to actually make some tea. Or a wash, you can asperge. In fact, this is mint tea, and one way that you can do a home blessing with this is to take a bit of tea and sprinkle it about your home. there's many ways of crafting charms, and indeed, some people like taking a variety of charms together, herbs together, and putting them into a little pre-made baggie like this, and that can be carried on the person, put on a necklace around the neck. If you make a travel charm for your home with an herbal amulet bag, you hang it from the rear view mirror. There's a lot of different ways of working with that. Or you can get some other type of container for one or more herbs. Here's an example of a round container that actually has a zipper in it that you can put some dried or fresh herbs. And indeed, some people will create a braid of herbs. This is sweetgrass. It's connected with a number of First Peoples traditions in the Americas. And some people will actually create a small hoop with a sweetgrass braid and use that as a charm for healing and well-being. One of my favorite ways of working with herbs in a circular fashion is making an herbal crown. Here's another example of working with Artemisia vulgaris, mugwort. Now you can put it on your head, or many people will use this on their front door as a way of blessing the whole home. And because many people are used to putting wreaths on their doors, you aren't necessarily giving yourself away as somebody that delves into the magical and mystery properties of herbs. Of course, this is just an overview of a variety of different kinds of herbs. It's actually working with fresh and dried herbs, but there are ways of working with herbs in a symbolic way. This is another home blessing charm, and it's using herbal imagery, in this case, that of the oak and the pinnacle, the 5 elements of nature: earth, air, fire, water, spirit. So now we're going to have an opportunity to explore some additional herbal charms. Another longtime member of the Circle Sanctuary community and our Full Moon Circle is Bree.
Thank you, Selena. I have a poem I'm going to read. It's by Heather McCorkle. It's called She Ran Through the Herbs. She ran through the herbs. The mint brushed against her skin. She ran through the herbs. The basil batted. She ran through the herbs. The oregano tilted and swayed. She ran through the herbs. The dandelion smiled. She ran through the herbs. The dirt pounded against the palms of her feet. She ran through the herbs. A little worm wriggled between the green feathery plants. She ran through the herbs, laughing the whole way. If you truly cared, you wouldn't scold her. You wouldn't tell her that she'd ruined the garden, that her skin would have the inflammable scent of spices. Instead, you would run through the herbs with her. Now, my first stint, let's say, making spirit bags was at Circle Sanctuary in welcome summer of 2016. And that was the first actual day that I had gone to Circle Sanctuary. So I got put into a group making spirit bags. And so this is the first one I ever made, if you can see it okay. And subsequently, a whole bunch more. So thanks to Selena and a bunch of other people at Circle Sanctuary, it's quite a spiritual process. And I'm also going to talk about a workshop I went to at PSG, Pagan Spirit Gathering 2019. And I went to a workshop put on by a friend of mine, Estrella Taylor from Ohio, and it was about intuitive witchcraft. And like we do at Circle, we have these squares of fabric, generally 3 to 4 inches on each side. And in the to start with, you lay the fabric down. And for this one, because I was honoring my goddess Hecate, I chose a square of black cloth. And that's just for Hecate the Nightwalker of the underworld. And some of the herbs I put in was mugwort and some lavender, some cardamom, and some herbal essence of myrrh. And with that, I also put in a couple stones, a small piece of obsidian for banishing and protection, but also a small piece of moonstone because Hecate is a goddess, triple goddess, and I wanted to honor her as the goddess of the full moon as well. And to do all that, you just put it all in there and you put it together and make sure it's nice and tight. And then I use some red yarn. You can see that okay. And the red yarn was for Hecate, the blood of the mother, which is the middle world. So I actually incorporated all of the 3 elements that respond to Hecate, underworld, middle world, and upper world, with everything that's in this bag. So every time I make a circle, a spirit bag, and like I said, a lot of them at Circle Sanctuary, it gives me a very good feeling that I can connect with the deities. And in the case of making the bags at Circle Sanctuary, we would put them in a big barrel, basically, and Selena would charge them all. And then all the bags would go to PSG and would be handed out when everybody registered. So we had the opportunity to wear that spirit bag the entire time of PSG if we wanted to. And it really helps connect with the community, especially the Circle Sanctuary community. And even though I've known Selena a very long time, I've only been active in Circle Sanctuary since that day of 2016. But it's been an incredible journey. And I can't say enough to thank Selena and all the staff and everybody that's associated with Circle Sanctuary. Even though I'm in Western New York, I still miss being at Circle with the real fire by our fire master and everybody that's a lot of you are here in Zoom right now. So yeah, I miss y'all and thank you very much.
Thank you, Bree. Wow, another show and tell of some herbs working with the power of the great oak. In my own ancestral background on my father's side, I have a Scottish clan that's part of my ancestral mix. And indeed, it has an image of an oak tree that's been cut down and sprouting again. A real image of strength and resilience. And I've worked with oak imagery and worked with different forms of oak as a kind of sacred herb in my spiritual life. I showed you this image, which is called an oak hex, even though hex usually means 6. The Pennsylvania Dutch, which were really German-speaking Swiss who settled in Pennsylvania in the 1700s, they're part of my ancestral mix as well, would make round symbols with geometrical shapes that represented many different things. Well, the oak image is about strength, and you can work with oak imagery as a charm. You can make things out of oak wood, And indeed, next month we're having our Witch Wands Full Moon Circle. It's October after all. And this is an oaken wand that it was crafted by an artisan that I have used in connection with attuning to the sun, and at times where I really want to focus strength and power towards a particular objective. But my favorite oak charm is a tiny one. It is the acorn. And across cultures, and for hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of years, the acorn has been a symbol of good fortune, of prosperity, and well-being. Indeed, from an acorn, mighty oaks grow. So some bits of oak lore as part of our journey exploring charms. And now another one of the people who are part of our Circle Sanctuary Ministry team on internet radio is Laura Gonzalez, and she will share from her ancestral and spiritual traditions and herbal charm.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the full moon celebration on tonight's night about the full moon charms. And I want to talk to y'all about the tradition of the sweat lodge and the herbs and the washes. And because of the times that we are living, we are not able to, at the moment, go to a sweat lodge. However, we can do a wash. And I don't know if you all are familiar with that or not, but you can do a wash for your feet. I have to digress, by the way. I am in Chicago, honoring the land of the Potawatomi, the Miami, and the Menominee, and I myself come from the land of the Mexica Tenochca, known as Aztecs. And what I'm sharing with you about the sweat lodge is actually, we call it Temazcal. Temazcal is the name of the sweat lodge, and it's very much like the native peoples of the North America, going into the womb of the Mother Earth and being there, and that heat and the rocks and the water and the herbs, etc. But again, we cannot go to Temazcal right now. We cannot go to a sweat lodge, so we can do the next best thing. And the next best thing is to do a hot wash for your feet. Not too hot, please. It's not like the Temazcal. It's not like you're in there. So as hot or so as warm as you can get on your feet. And fear not if you are like moi, which from the city, and you don't have fresh herbs. Store-bought herbs are just right. Tonight I have with me rosemary, I have rue, I have basil, and I also have sage. And I put this on the sage so I could recognize it. So what I'm doing tonight for all of you who are here live or whoever can watch later is I am going to charm a little tub. No, my feet are not going to fit in there. But I'm going to charm it symbolically for all of us and everyone who is watching. And I am going to do what I've never done before. I am going to sing, and I am going to sing on not one, not two, but 3 languages. God has blessed me. All right, so what you do, let me first tell you what you do. You warm up your water in a big tub or somewhere where you can soak your feet. And you can put the herbs, as I say, rosemary for protection, rue for protection as well, for calming and for purifying, sage as well for purifying, and basil for calmness and purifying. This is a very purifying wash. And all you do is thank the earth, the water, the fire, and the air for it, and then you soak your feet on it until it's cold, and that's it, you're done. So here I am for all of y'all here watching later. Let's say thank you to the rosemary for giving itself to our wash. We say thank you to the rue and its powerful energies of protection and purification. We say thank you to the basil for protection and purification. And we say thank you to the sage for giving itself to us and help us protect all of us. This is a traditional song that is sang at the Temazcal, and normally it will be sang in Spanish, but again, I'm doing it on all three languages. Tierra mi cuerpo, agua mi sangre, aire mi aliento y fuego mi espíritu. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, fire my spirit. Tlali no nakayo, asino yesli, ejekat no ihillo, yuantes lo no tonal, tierra mi cuerpo, agua mi sangre, aire mi aliento y fuego mi espíritu. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, fire my spirit. Tlali no nakayo, asino yesli, ejekat no ihillo, tetol no tonal. Lazo Kamati.
Many thanks, Laura. Well, we've got one more show and tell charm, and it is a mistletoe sprig. Now, of course, Yuletide is when a lot of people think about mistletoe, but you can actually have mistletoe year round. It's known as the Golden Bough. And in fact, there is a book with lots of ancient pagan lore in it called The Golden Bough. Very scholarly work, but I've gotten some great inspiration from it. And mistletoe has been used across cultures as a sacred herb. And yes, at Yuletide, it often is hung above a doorway, and it gives a good opportunity for romance and, with consent, couples kissing. However, the mistletoe actually goes beyond the romance and the love dimension. It is an herb that's been associated with peace. And one of the old traditions was to hang mistletoe above a hallway, above a room, and those who are all gathered would be coming together in harmony and peace. And so this is a very old sprig of mistletoe that I've had for years. And yes, it kind of has a bit of a golden color. When mistletoe is fresh, it's actually much greener, similar to this color, but then over time it turns this kind of golden magical color. So mistletoe for protection, for love, for peace, for healing, for indeed it's an herb that has many uses. Wow, we are shifting now from some sharings about herbal charms to some spiritual workings. Indeed, every month at full moon time, we also guide workings for places in need. And I invite to share about her connections with the great trees of California, as well as some recent adventures Shar, who is one of Circle Sanctuary's eco chaplains. Welcome, Shar.
Hello, everybody. Good to be with you on this full moon again. I'm calling out to you from the northern coast of California at the top of the Monterey Bay, just a little north, just like 6 miles inland of Santa Cruz. And it's the traditional home of the Awaswas, the Ohlone, and the Amatmutsun. It's also the ancient home of many critters we know and love, including the cougar, the bobcat, the gray fox, no bears, but we have coyotes and gray fox, and there are western screech owls and great horned owls and many kinds of bats and bees and the mighty banana slug. And just down the hill with the California sea lion, the otter, harbor seals, the California pelican and the peregrine. So it's home to many, many neighbors, wild neighbors. And most importantly, in the plant world, it's really, really known as one of the places in the world that is home to the mighty Sequoia sempervirens, the coastal giant redwoods. And they go from, maybe 200 years old if they're an offspring to over 2,000 years old. So older than the Roman Empire. These trees, some of whom have been wounded just now this last week and scarred again, are the elders of our continent. They are the oldest and longest lasting evergreens on the planet. And what happened just over 2 weeks ago, and to back up real quick, is that California has increased global warming temperature by 2.5 degrees Celsius over the last decade. And if you know anything about climate reality and climate impacts, what happens with every 1 degree increase, 1 degree Celsius increase in heat, is you get a 10% increase in dry lightning and lightning strikes. So that's a 25% increase in dry lightning strikes that we're experiencing as a part of the world as the result of global warming over the warm ocean. And as of 2014, I saw impacts on sea lion populations, otter populations, abalone, sea kelp forest die-off, acidification, toxicity throughout killing off shellfish. There's been an obvious sign of coastal migration and impact on the coast. And so what happened just over 2 weeks ago was we had an unprecedented heat wave, and we've been having rolling blackouts. You've heard about these things in the news. And we're not even in fire season yet. That begins with September. And all of a sudden we had this freakish lightning storm that started over the coast and came inland. And in our state of California, we had almost 11,000 dry lightning strikes in a few hours. And I sat out on the deck of our redwood home and was frightened for the first time in my life. And it started over 580 fires all around the state. So I'm here with surviving the CZU lightning fire at the coast. And why I'm sharing this with you on this full moon is that it did manage to burn so far 85,000 acres, and they all happen to be right in the coastal redwood habitat. I think it's worth pause for the whole world to recognize that these elders among us have either been lost or badly scarred and wounded as a result of our impact over this last week. And Big Basin is one of the great state parks. It's the oldest state park in the country. Has had many trees, including Big Ben and some of the big trees, that have been burned. Now, one of the things about the redwoods that's quite fascinating is that and I want to share this imagery with you, they communicate with each other as trees do, and they form meta-organisms that have multiple trees that are connected in their roots. And if an elder tree falls or is chopped down, they will keep that stump alive The youngers that grow up will keep the stump alive and continue to send nutrients and signals and messages. And the elders hold the memories of how to survive the hard times of drought, of pestilence, of fire. And they feed that memory back to the living youngsters. We have on our property here 6 rings of redwoods. And so one of the things I've done, I mean, the redwoods stand themselves. Many of the trees, like in Big Basin, will survive, even if they've been burning inside. The tannin in their bark, the resilience in their Cambrian is like nothing else on the planet. And every day they draw down the mist from the atmosphere to help moisten the earth. So talk about drawing down the moon. These are elders who draw down the moon every day and that mist energy. So as a working, to be in touch, these are not presences that you command, that you're asking to do the bidding, for your bidding. The thing about a redwood, when you're near a redwood, is you want to join with their energy. You want to merge with them, ally with them, and partner with the magic they're already doing in the forest every day. And that is standing as a sentinel to guard and to protect the rest of the forest around them, which they do. And so I have here an invitation. I used the herb golden seal, because golden seal, ancient herb, very much used to guard and protect, often associated with boosting immunity. And I have here a redwood strand that was covered in ash in our property. And when we came home, I washed it off with salt water. And so this is salt water. And I'm going to add to the salt water some golden seal. And I'll stir it around. And what I am going to do here on the actual property is I will go to every ring of redwoods and I will stand with them and I will be sprinkling or dousing in to the redwoods in every direction, and then I'll face outward from the redwoods, and in every direction I'll douse, merging with their energy to strengthen the guardianship of the forest. If you don't have a redwood near you, if you have an image of a redwood on an altar at home, I invite you for the next lunar cycle to combine salt water with golden seal, ground it up, and sprinkle it on the redwood image, and imagine that you are merging with fortifying the guardianship strength of these trees, these elders that are among us. The other thing that I want to share and invite you to consider for the next lunar cycle is a healing of every living thing that has been consumed by fire. And you can do it from afar. You can do it here if you're in California. I'm not smudging right now. I'm a little averse to fire at the moment. You have to forgive me. But fire here in California is traumatic right now. It's running amok. The energy for that element has been really, really big. So we're trying to subdue, minimize that. So I'm not going to use a smudging with my incense. I'm not going to use a burning charcoal. Instead, I can use a medium of either oil, like a soothing almond oil, or a tincture of water. And fennel. I like fennel in this case because it has an all-over protection property. You know, it eliminates negativity, malicious, evil spirits. It's got a healing property to it as well. And I've combined here in my little Mother Goddess folder some oil, almond oil, rubbed in, combined with fennel powder. And this is something to take and touch onto everything. And I mean, I'm touching it on the door sill. I'm touching it on the propane tank. I'm touching it on trees, on, you know, gate posts, on plants, on animals, on myself, on everything. Healing touch. Because I find that the ecosystems are very sensitive to healing touch. And there's no busy mind involved. It's very gentle. And combining at home, if you would like to participate in this, because I'm going to be doing these each day for the next lunar cycle, both of these things, the dousing and the touching. If you would like to imagine an image of a forest or an ecosystem and provide healing, combine oil or water, make a tincture with fennel, or oil with fennel and do a little healing touch on your altar each day, and thinking about us out here in California and the elders who live among us and this precious ecosystem that is a gift to our planet. Thank you for considering this.
Many blessings. And I'm so glad that Shar and Andrew were able to get back to their home and that their home was standing. And so glad that you could join us tonight. And I invite you now, as I play this singing bowl again, to call to mind healing needs of those you know, humans, places, creatures, plants, ecosystems, human systems. And as I play this singing bowl, I invite you to imagine the radiant light of the full moon, whether it's visible where you are or not, sparkling, glowing, and going in moonbeams to those in need. So as I play this singing bowl, I invite you to speak aloud wherever you are. We're going to all keep ourselves muted. I'll play this, which won't be muted. But if you wish, speak out the first name or the whole name of the one or ones that are in need of healing, that they be well. Healing to individuals in need. Healing to places. Healing to plants. Healing to creatures. Healing to ecosystems. Healing to societies. To nations. To cities. To suburbs. To villages and towns. To the wild places. To the planet as a whole. To the cosmos. Be well, be well, be well, be well. So mote it be. Well, now the time has come to create a resilient support charm. If you have dried and or fresh herb or herbs present, I invite you to have that present. If you don't, I invite you to call it up in your mind. If you have some type of piece of cloth, or you can use a tissue, I invite you to get your items ready. And what we're going to do is commune with the herb. What I'm using tonight is yarrow flowers. Why yarrow? Yarrow is connected with protection, with healing and well-being and love. And indeed, an old folk charm from old Europe is to bring some yarrow to a wedding for lasting love. Well, I have yarrow here to help bring greater love to the world that we are dwelling in, to protect us from bigotry, discrimination, and equal treatment, to bring about wisdom and connection, and to help all of us with resilience. But you may have some other focus for yourself, some other herb or herbs. And as Steve plays some magical music for us for the next minute or so, I invite you to commune with the herb and make a little herbal bag, spirit bag, or amulet bag, and to tie it off with a string or a twist tie will work. So take a few moments now, call to mind your resilience focus. It may be for yourself, it may be for your household, it may be for a larger system you're part of. Commune with the herb and start crafting your amulet, your herbal charm. And Steve will give us some music to craft charms by. Craft charms by. Craft charms by. Craft charms by. resilience, support, 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 resilience, support. So mote it be. And now take a few moments and get a sense, where is a good place to have your herbal charm do its resilient support? We have it with us now, and get a sense, is this something you'll carry with you, have on your home altar, perhaps put it in a special location where you see the reminder. May we be resilient, and may we give thanks to the herbs that we have worked with and the divine, as one and as many that we have called here tonight and worked with in this charm making. So be it. And now we have a chance to do yet another working. Many of you, in fact, I imagine most, if not all of us, know that during this pandemic, there's been a variety of opportunities to take a closer look at systems in our personal lives, in our household, in our institutions, in our country, in our world. I have a symbol of healing during the pandemic. It is a rainbow caduceus with a crystal atop, a winged crystal caduceus. And I call upon the powers of this symbol, the colors of diversity in harmony, to be within us and around us tonight on this full moon night, and to be with Wisconsin in particular and the USA. For indeed, one of the things that has become apparent in the USA is systemic racism. And this is a real opportunity, as we become aware of this, to find ways to truly manifest equality, liberty, and justice for all. So I invite Laura to guide us in a way that we can work together for greater harmony, justice, freedom, and equality, right here in the United States as well as in the world. Welcome, Laura.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I do have my props ready, and I have y'all with my little ring that kind of looks like a full moon shining down on the earth. And I will ask you to visualize, to imagine, to connect with the moon above us and the energy around us. Mother Goddess, you who are the full moon up in the sky, reflecting the light of the sun, giving us energies that are subtle and intense, lighten our path to freedom, to equality, and to justice. Mother Moon, we ask you to bless us personally, to help us deconstruct and renounce to our judgment, to our prejudice, to our othering, to the differences. We ask you, Mother Goddess, to help us embrace our different beings of diversity and to inspire us to get to know each other. Globally, we ask you for blessings of equality for every being, for freedom, for justice. May the extremes find their path to dialogue at the center. Luna llena, tú que eres nuestra madre en el cielo, que nos iluminas ahora con la luz del sol, te pedimos que ilumines nuestro camino de vuelta a la igualdad y a la justicia. May our words echo throughout the world for justice, for equality, for honor in diversity, for respect, and to understand that we are all intertwined and connected. So mote it be.
So mote it be. We celebrate our connections with planet Earth, our home. We connect with that great community of life that's around us. We connect with the divine that's within us and in the larger cosmos of which we are a part. And we celebrate the rhythms of nature. Indeed, I invite Judith to do her special rendition of an oldie but goodie, a Pete Seeger song that the Byrds in the 60s created, and the words actually go back in time to Ecclesiastes. So we have an interfaith, international, time-traveling song to let us open our hearts, celebrate life. I welcome Judith.
Thank you, Selena. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to reap. A time to plan, a time to wait, a time to weep, a time to laugh. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to keep, a time to let go, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for you, a time for us all, a time to tear down walls, a time to rebuild. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of joy, a time of angst, a time of deep thought, a time of play, a time to risk, a time to stay safe, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time of war, a time of peace, a time to not speak, a time to shout out, a time for love, a time to vote against hate. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time of change, a time of dreams, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven.
Thank you, Judith. How fabulous. Wow, as we prepare to close, and our bard, I'm sure, has a drum that he can start drumming with in a few moments. Well, let us give thanks. Let us give thanks to the sacred earth and the north. We give thanks to the sacred air and the east. We give thanks to the sacred fire and the south. We give thanks to the sacred water and the west. We give thanks to the sacred spirit that is love that's within us. That is our connection with the greater planet of which we are all part. We give thanks to the land where we dwell. We give thanks to the universe of which our planet home is part of. We give thanks to the full moon. We give thanks to the circle of us gathered here in this Zoom and the larger circle of all of you who have gathered, who have watched us, and have joined in wherever you may be. Though it's time for this circle to be open, it's never broken. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. Let us all be agents of change. Let us all recognize that democracy is an ancient, rooted pagan tradition. Yes, indeed. Learn about voting choices. Learn about getting registered to vote. Learn about how to vote best where you are. Make your choices and be sure to vote and be part of the solution and not the toxic pollutions that the earth really needs to, in its community of life, needs to progress from. So as we all unmute ourselves, we will have a mighty drumming, and we all are going to have a chance to make a joyful noise and invite you all to celebrate the full moon. So take it away, Steve, and thank you all. Happy full moon! Happy full moon!
Blessed be.
Blessed be! our lights, we once again see ourselves as part of a grand circle that's gathered here to celebrate the moon, to celebrate our connections with spirituality and all of its diversity. We give thanks to the creatures and the places and the plants. We give thanks to the herbs. We give thanks to the ancient ones. We give thanks to each other. May we all go in peace and joy and love, and may we find good ways of continuing to carry on the joy, the celebration, the good energy, the resilience, the healing, the quest for equality, justice, and liberty for all. Let us all take that into this full moon time and into the world now and in times to come. So be it. Many thanks. Woo! And as we conclude our recording, we experience ourselves connected with each other and carry with us that resilience and connection into our night. Farewell.